And the last one I picked, I think because at least when I was a teenager, strangely enough, it wasn't only the fast stuff that appealed to me. I was banging into St. Vitus and Candlemas and Pentagram as well. And I think you can hear in Primordial there's a lot of doomy parts, you know, which we took obviously from Sabbath, but we were really into Candlemas and lots of doom when we were growing up as well. But the band that I never really knew quite much about, but I remember picking up the double tape when I was about 13 or 14 of is Trouble. So we're going to talk about Sam 9 and, well, the other one was The Skull, the kind of double tape. Yep. And then that was just before maybe Trouble came out, so it's maybe 88 or 89. But this is just a phenomenal record, you know. I mean, just the general tone and the weight of the riffs and the, you know.
Yeah, they were great. It's funny, I got a, that was back in the days when, you know, again, people just mail you stuff, and I just got in the mail a demo tape, which most of it was live, and then there was like a little demo from Trouble, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. What is this? And it's funny because Trouble was an interesting band because they were from Chicago, and back in those days, there really was nowhere for them to record, so they had to both Trouble and The Skull, they had to like get in a little tiny van and drive cross country with like no money or anything to come out and record. And I can't remember if, I'm almost sure it was
Bill
Matory, yeah, of course, because we, you know, Bill was a big metalhead, and he, you know, had a studio here in California that we would basically begging the guy to like let us in for really cheap, so we'd be able to do records for super cheap. Yeah. And I think it was this record where I actually had gone out of town, and I came back and I walked into my office, and there were people sleeping all over the office. And it was trouble because they couldn't finish the record right on time, so they were here like an extra week, and the money had run out, so there was no hotel, so they ended up just, Bill didn't know what to do. He says like, well, I just sleep in the office. So. But yeah, a classic record. I love the early stuff, and I mean this one. Obviously, The Tempter is still probably one of my all-time favorite songs. That riff in there still to this day is just so unbelievably heavy. Yeah, and I mean, it's strange enough at 13 or 14, at least for me, when I was mostly into just, you know... By the way, notice the little skull in there.
Was the aggressive fast stuff as well. Yeah, close up on the skull there. But, you know, not just the really fast stuff, but, you know, also Candlemas and all that kind of stuff as well. But, I mean... I remember first hearing it and, you know, kind of thinking to myself, are these guys Christian or what, you know? And for the first lyrics, for the first moment, I thought, no, it has to be satanic, because I didn't know anything about the concept that, you know, the Christian bands were doom, some of them were doom bands and all this kind of stuff. And I remember because I was quite getting into the, you know, the early black metal, death metal scene, which seemed to be in opposition to it. And I remember just wearing a Trouble t-shirt around, and people were just like, what the fuck are you doing? Wearing St. Vitus written on the jacket and stuff. And, yeah, but it's just... It didn't matter from where it came, you know, whether it was one side or the other, but it's just the weight of the music, you know, and just the general heaviness is just so incredible.
Well, that's what I try to explain to people too. It's like, because there's so, you know, I mean, you know, even on Metal Blade we have, you know, artists all across the, you know, the mold of anything, and it's all about the music. The music is the most important thing. I always see lyrics and imagery come into play with some stuff, but to me, if the music's great, then, you know, that's the first and foremost thing. I think that's what brings everybody together in the first place, is if there's great music. You know, the other parts of it are just another part of it, and it's the music that really is what matters the most, at least to me.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they're the four that we chose. I mean, I could have gone on and chosen a rake of others, but they're just the first four, you know, that just sprung to mind, you know. But
we'll do that next time.
Yeah, yeah, we can pick another four, another fucking quarterly installment of obscure 80s metal records from the 80s. But the good thing about it is now, at least I notice if I blog or I write something, and I always... At the end, I'll put my playlist and try and name drop some things, whether it's, you know, I don't know, even Trespass, New Irish Heavy Metal, or Holy Terror or something, and then I'll get a bunch of messages from people all they have to do is cut and paste, Google, and go to a torrent, and they can get this stuff straight away, and it's just so instant, you know, in a way that if you're able to sort of pass on something like that to, you know, sort of to connect people again with the original stuff, I think it's really important, you know. Even if people don't know these and they're kind of going, oh God, I should go and check them out, you know. All it takes is just click.
Yeah, it's easy. I mean, that you know, that's one of the great things about the technology today is music is so readily available. Anybody can hear it, and I also think it's great, like we were talking earlier too, about how it's really cool that today's bands are so into the history, and they, you know, really open about their influences, and the fans out there love that too, because they, you know, for a time, especially in like the 80s and 90s, it was like, oh, well, we can't really talk about what we're into and whatnot. Now you can, and the kids, I mean, there's, you know, I mean, look, these records are, you know, almost 30 years old. I mean,
Some
there's
of
so
them,
many
yeah.
fans out there that are, you know, not even close to that age that are coming out and buying this stuff. Which I love seeing that excitement to hear this stuff again.
Oh, well,
it's cool for band, you know, guys like you
Yeah.
in bands to kind of, you know, turn people on to music as well.
Well, this is it. I mean, you've got Sirathungal there, which is, you know, I mean, that's one of my, just like, I mean, I remember we said this years ago, that was one of my very favorite Metal Blade albums, when we were talking about all the old albums. You know, okay, you can pick Show No Mercy and that and the other, but that would have been a bit too obvious, really, wouldn't it? You know?
Sure.
Or Hell Awaits. I mean, what hasn't been said about all those kind of records. But Sirathungal, I mean, obviously, when that came out, I would have been 9 or 10 or something, you know what I mean? So that was something I didn't hear till 1990, maybe, or 1991, you know? And it was because of the artwork that I picked it up. And then it was just like, holy fuck, you know? But yeah, it's good because you know, you can connect people again with all this old stuff and breathe a bit of new life into it. And then you see I'm, you know, DJing or something, some kid comes up to me who's 16 and he's got like a Sirathungal shirt or something, and you're like, excellent, you know.
Yeah, so I was at the Charred Walls of the Dams party in New York, and some kid had a Sirathungal shirt on. I'm like, nice shirt.
There you go.
Very impressive. Well, definitely, Alan's a great guy, as you can see. Definitely check out Primordial. I have a brand new DVD that's out, and
Oh yeah.
record that's coming out before the end of 2010 as well. So
October.
great stuff.
And until then, I'd read out Sirathungal and Trouble and Omen and Flotsam and Jetsam, and you know, it's not difficult. So
Awesome. Well, thanks for doing this. Appreciate it.
no problem.